great real estate should be a response to humanity. That is the piece that I think is missed in a lot of corporate boardrooms. Is there's this very static understanding of how real estate should be, this brick and mortar staunch look at how houses are, and there's 2.5 bathrooms and 3 bedrooms, and you know that world no longer exists. We're seeing keyboards be ergonomic. So why wouldn't housing be ergonomic? We're watching, how Tesla is changing the way that we are driving. And some of that to me is a little bit further down the line than real estate changes a little bit slower, rightly so, because our behaviors change, a little bit slower than they do from a technological standpoint. But now that we have phones in our hands 24/7, the way that we live, even the way that you sit on a couch, the shape of a couch before, from having your head up and watching a television that sits on a stand versus a flat screen that's up on the thing, and you got the phone in your hand, you got your keyboard, and you got the baby over here. We need to now have walls that have slightly different shapes. Nobody goes to the fucking dining room. Dining rooms are fake rooms. Even when we were at the end of our growing up phase, you were only allowed to go in on Christmas or Hanukkah, or like nobody goes in there. So why am I paying an extra $400 a foot for a 200 square foot area that nobody's fucking using? Everybody sits in the kitchen. So we're looking like, okay, well, make the kitchen a little bit bigger because everybody already is in the kitchen. Make the bedrooms a little bit bigger. And even if you're not getting rid of the dining room, put a breakfast table in there that somebody's going to actually use, not the 8-seater that nobody actually cares about. And it sounds very simplistic, but I'm looking at the end user. So Americans are being priced out of buying homes, which I have an enormous problem with fundamentally, especially as a first generation American that was here because of the Cary Grant white picket fences and, the dogs in the yard and waving to your neighbor across the street, which I think is being destroyed by eliminating sidewalks and making front loaded garage homes instead of alley loaded houses. And we're making a huge dent in ensuring that we call it futuristic suburbanism, which sounds like a bunch of mumbo jumbo, but in reality, it's going back to the original housing communities that, made America the beacon of light for the rest of the world that's being dimmed because somebody's trying to, pad their margins for some quarterly earning calls, which I have a huge problem with. But the point is, the people are missing the point of why they're doing real estate. Like, we're doing it for people. So not understanding what's happening with technology, or like what Ring is doing, to have, on the front of houses, or watching how Nest cameras and, how the, digitally you can change your thermostat. These things are not, small changes lead to big gains. Like there's a philosophy that I heard a pilot talk about many years ago, is that if a plane is going from New York to Miami and it's 1 degree off, the plane not only doesn't get to Miami, it ends up in the Caribbean. So what's happening in real estate is these little micro changes that we're watching over the course of the next 20 years are going to lead to astronomical changes in how we actually live. And we want to make a response to that. We want to make our lives more comfortable in homes. People are working more remotely. The office industry, we're probably have $1 trillion in losses in the office market because people are working from home. So now homes need to have more of an office setting. Bedrooms should have a little desk inside of it. And it's not rocket science, but it's something that we need to be conscious of. You just walk into an old bedroom, you have a nightstand, and you have that. Like, that's not where that doesn't work for people anymore. Put a little desk that comes out of the wall that you can put your little chair up. You have your bed up against the wall. But these little changes, like, the devil is in the details, as the cliche says, right? And that is the part that we are hyper focused on, is those little details that don't cost a lot of money, but they just cost a lot of heart and a lot of feeling and a lot of emotion around who that end user is. And that is what we do at this firm. We obsess over our end user customers, and we obsess over our investors. And these are the tenets of it. How can you best serve them? And letting that dictate the economics, not the other way around. Because if you build a great product, they will come. And if you just build a great pro forma, which is an assumption, and we know how that turns out, the potentiality for a dismal end result is so much higher. So we start the other way. And it just sounds like common sense as I say it, but common sense is just not so common in this world anymore. Part of it is kind of in the secret sauce, to be quite frank. Some of this is just proprietary work that I wouldn't tell you if you asked, because this is just what we do and it's why people come to us, and these are our trade secrets, quite frankly. But I will tell you, it's a combination of human capital, it's a combination of technology, and there's just good old-fashioned conversation. So it's a tiered approach. Back to the way I explain risk controls, it's always, you have to take the marriage of the old world way of just picking up the fucking phone and calling somebody, talking to your tenants, picking up the phone and meeting a local business owner, all the way to watching charts and trends and regulatory changes. But the way that it's all comes together is how the sauce is made. And that is what the essence of Rastegar is, as I said, is marrying mathematics with humanity, taking a human approach and using the data to inform those decisions. And that's the golden thread of the whole firm. It's how risk controls work. It's how we look at deals. It's how we sell deals. It's how we talk to investors. It's how we raise capital. It's how we raise debt. It's how we do renovations, how we do construction, how we design buildings. For example, we have an office building in downtown Austin. Okay, I designed it during COVID. It's 2 stories. It sits on a 25-foot cantilever, has staircases on the outside, has specially designed HEPA filters, and has balconies on an office building. Because during COVID, people were nervous, and this was a response. It was a post-COVID office design, not a 74-story office building that nobody wants. 2 stories, 24,000 square feet, impeccably located. You don't want to take the elevator and be in proximity, take the fucking stairs. You want to get some fresh air and open up the windows, walk on the balcony. That's it.